we really were looking forward to bringing our foundation headquartered here in Southern Shores, the Sold Out Youth Foundation, and we had started going into schools here in Dare County thanks to the Dare County ABC Board who gives us the ability to do that, and many others who are supportive of our program. But our program is an assembly program followed by an online follow-up, but in person. So in the spring of 19, when all that went down and they closed the schools, we were out of business. Our money comes from grants. So we had to speak with our supporters about, hey, if we are able to put together an online program 100% that could meet the distance learning requirements, and I got to thank Keith Parker here, secondary school, head of secondary education, that helped us put together a social distancing 100% online program. So I hired an incredible webmaster out of Southern California that basically from March 19 to the fall helped us totally redo our program, a brand new website, brand new tools, brand new online, phone friendly for the students. And we're one of those COVID success stories because we tested it in 7 counties last year and went over really great. Some of the schools even liked it better. But to the credit of Dare County Schools, they said, listen, this is even better for us because once you're able to come back in, we've got a great online program already. Sure. We can use both. Mm-hmm. So I'm excited to go back in tomorrow. So at 8 o'clock, I'll be at Hatteras Secondary Middle. Then I'll be at Manteo at 10. Then I'll be at First Flight at 2 with 6th graders. And then this Thursday, I'll be the same schedule, the secondary, Manteo, and First Flight High School. So this is very exciting for us, and I know the kids are excited because when I went to Elizabeth City Schools, it was the first assembly they had since COVID.
Yeah. Now, I know a lot of our listeners right now have heard your name, of course, it rings bells. They probably have listened to your Saturday or Sunday morning show here on 98.1 The Score. But if there's somebody visiting on the Outer Banks this week that isn't familiar, if there's maybe a local who, for whatever reason, hasn't familiarized themselves with your show, or maybe they've listened to the show but don't know about the initiative, take a moment, if you will, just to remind everyone exactly, like when I say getting into schools to talk to the kids, what it is that we're talking to the kids about and what it is that the Sold Out Youth Foundation really, really strives to accomplish.
Well, our mission is very simple. It is to go into 6th grade, which is our target audience, and 9th graders, which is before kids make a decision about drugs and alcohol in their life. So it's a 100% alcohol abstinence program that's created to get kids excited about their passion and their goals and about what they want to accomplish. Being able to build life skills, important life skills into these kids' lives, overall fitness, health, and wellness. And with that, show kids that you can live a successful, meaningful life without drugs and alcohol being part of that. So it's a 3-step pledge program that starts with a QR code poster in the school, which will be even more powerful this year. And kids go with their phones, click on that QR code, and it takes them to a 3-step accountable pledge where they pledge to be drug and alcohol abstinent to their friends, teachers, coaches, and parents, where they pledge to hold their good friends accountable. And then really important part of our program is that night they go home. So tomorrow night, parents, if you have a 6th grader, you're going to have your 6th grader coming home asking you, letting you know that they made a decision and that someone came to speak to them about alcohol abstinence. So it's a great opportunity, and I want to thank the whole station here, including yourself, Tom, and Rick Loesch, the owner, that you guys have allowed us to run our parent PSA program, because now for 2 years we've been talking to parents about being vigilant about having that conversation about drugs and alcohol with their young people. And you add COVID to the mix, this has become even a worse problem. 28% of middle school students are going to try alcohol for the first time. That jumps to almost 50% as 9th graders that have tried it. We also have a substance abuse problem here, just like everywhere else in our country, because of the port system here. It comes in through the ports. Fentanyl. We had a student die from a fentanyl overdose here a little over a month ago right here in Dare County. And unfortunately, that's not the only time things like that happen. But 35% of kids right now after COVID are experiencing some sort of emotional or mental distress. 25% increase in suicides in seniors in high school. I mean, think about that, your listeners. These are your kids. And if 25% of seniors in high school, which should be the greatest year of your life, are actually taking their life, 25% increase, and think about the number that are thinking about that. Another terrible statistic that came from COVID was parents were giving their kids alcohol at home more than before. So what we did was we developed a fitness, health, and wellness online video program when kids were at home and couldn't have PE or couldn't, do sports. So we took health experts from childhood behavioralists to mental success coaches to sports-specific coaches that could speak into what kids were going through, and the responses we were getting even on our online program was, hey, I'm depressed, hey, I'm experiencing anxiety, hey, I don't feel right. So if you go to our website right now at soldouttv.com, you'll find a brand new program that came out of COVID that's called Fitness, Health, and Wellness. And if you click on that link on the home page at soldouttv.com, you're going to see coaches that are going to speak truth into your kids' lives.
Not normal to be socially distanced. It's not normal to be isolated. It's not normal to be sitting in a chair in front of a computer nonstop. Who do we surround ourselves with? What are the things that we're watching? What are we engaging with on social media?
That can answer some of these questions. And, I've had school districts, Tom, tell me that, kids are acting up that normally wouldn't. We're having a hard time getting kids settled down back into the system after being out of their routine for so long. We don't understand why, if that's happening, they're not coming to their counselors. Well, I don't know about you, but when I was 13, I didn't want to tell a stranger or a counselor that I had a mental or emotional problem. So through our Pledge program, which is friendly for them on their phone, they're able to give us feedback that we're able to share with the schools, and the feedback was we're struggling. So we pivoted on our program, not just because we know that if kids are having those kind of struggles, the next place could be alcohol or drugs. So what we did was we spoke into that, showed kids some skills on how to handle the difficulties they were going through with depression and anxiety. And remember, parents were going through this as well, and kids were watching their parents go through it, losing their jobs, and all the things that went on with that. So I'm really excited that we're back to some sort of normalcy. Kids are getting back into the flow. They're playing sports. They're back in PE. And we're so glad to be partnering with Dare County Schools to help these 6th and 9th grade kids prepare for life.
I think it's fantastic what you're doing, Roman. Probably, and I assume you're probably a little bit like this as well. What's going on inside their head? And I think that's one way when I talk about old school, hey, you bottle it up and get back out there and put your big boy pants on. I'll admit that that's one way I think we are succeeding now, where in the past we may have failed, is by just acknowledging mental health is a big deal, and it's okay if you're not feeling right, if there's something going on inside your head, to let someone know.
Well, Thomas, I travel all over the country, our programs, because of this online program, we've been able to reach out to, we're starting our program in Southern California next fall, and that was part of our initiative at Super Bowl this year, was to get engaged with schools out there. I'm starting schools in Phoenix next week. What schools, I want to give credit to Dare County Schools and to all of our schools that I have been in. That, everybody was in shock, and everybody, this was a first for everybody. So what we had to do is we had to, see what happened when kids came back. And to the credit of the schools, they realized that there's an issue. They realized that there's a challenge. And I'm so appreciative that they would let us in and give them something we could come alongside their PE health courses, give their counselors some tools that they can work with. And that's all we're trying to do. A lot of the schools have, because of testing curriculum, had to go away from a lot of these character education programs, goal setting, those kind of extracurricular things. So our program's full go. Parents, if you go to soldouttv.com, please send your kids there. Thomas said it, we're an old school mentality, meaning that we know that old school principles work. Things like teamwork, things like working hard, things like choosing your friends right, things like being involved with extracurricular activities, about respecting your elders and your parents. But the difference is we've taken those old school principles and put them in a new school package that the kids like to learn on their phones. Their brains develop till they're 21 years old, and we don't want them doing drugs and alcohol. Now, when they hit 21 and their brains are fully developed, that's their choice. That's legal in the United States to drink when you hit 21. But our goal is to keep the kids away from alcohol and drugs until then. And you hit on a really key point, Thomas, earlier. A lot of these kids, like my grandson, who's a fourth grader, they're in that time where they're learning social skills, where they're learning nonverbal communication. And you can understand, I can tell you, when I went into a grocery store to get groceries and everybody's wearing a mask and you see somebody's eyes, and then you kind of smile like you would normally do, and you realize, well, they're not seeing that. So, our kids, this is a catch up for a lot of them. Now, we all feel sorry for the kids that were seniors in high school, that missed graduation, that weren't able to play sports, proms, all those things. And I hope those kids have a great college experience and a post high school experience. But this, it's a milestone that you remember the rest of your life, and that you can't get back. And that's why I want to tell kids when I see them tomorrow and Thursday, don't take for granted where you're at. Enjoy the process. Enjoy being a part of being the best you can right where you're at. Believe me, you'll be in high school and college before you know it, and then, like you said, before you know it, you've got 2 kids, a full-time job, and you got things you got to be concerned about. Now's the best time of your life.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely,
parents, I want to say this again, and I want to thank you guys so much for allowing us to put our public service announcements in our halftime stuff with football and everything. Parents, please watch your kids right now. It's more important than ever that you know what's going on in your kid's mind, that you're asking them how they feel, that you're looking for the signs of depression and anxiety, and that you're talking to them about drugs and alcohol. You're having that discussion with them. And some of you guys know you have that problem in your family. It's hereditary. They need to know that. A lot of parents have a problem with that conversation because it's a hard thing.
It's
difficult.
uncomfortable.
It is, exactly.
And I don't think parents want to acknowledge that this could be something that's, no, not my child. Maybe other kids, but not my child. But it really, yes, your child and the kid next door and the kid down the street and any child can be affected by
This is something that touches everybody. All your listeners, think about it. There's somebody in your family, whether it's distant or a good friend, that is going through some sort of alcohol or drug dependence. And unfortunately, it's a pandemic in our country. There are more people dying from every single year on average from alcohol and drugs than one of the biggest killers in our country. And our program aims to get your 6th graders to have the fortitude to say, I want something more for my life. I don't want this peer pressure. You do that if that's what you want to do, but I'm going to choose my life because I know I've got an opportunity to be something in life. So please go to our website at soldouttv.com. All the tools are on the homepage, and very exciting news. Tomorrow, I'm going to introduce a brand new website that we have put together. Dare County Schools will see it for the first time. We've got a brand new film we're going to show to the students tomorrow and Thursday that are going to get them really fired up. And I know that our friend Keith Parker at Dare County Schools does such a great job of working with us. And I want to thank again the ABC board here in Dare County for helping us to be able to get this done. We're so grateful for their 100% support over the last 4 years.
As I talk with Roman Gabriel about his Sold Out Youth Initiative, kids like our friends Caitlin, Alice, Hunter, Colin, Briley, Lindsay, Noah, Little Bubba, Ford, Asher, Stephen, Little Jack, so forth and so on. If you would like to have your child added to the morning roll call, text me his name. Shout out to those kids listening, and of course the real winners. Their moms and dads who have them listening on the way to school to the Outer Banks Sports Report. But these are some of the kids that you'll be going into and speaking with over the coming days. So students coming to a school near you, Mr. Roman Gabriel Jr., and parents, get ready because your kids are going to be coming home talking to you about alcohol and drug abstinence and perhaps challenging you to take the pledge.
Well, I want to challenge parents out there. I know this has been a challenging time because I've spoken to many of you, and I've spoken to many, like you said, Thomas, who struggled just as I did with the COVID pandemic. The best thing that we can do with our kids, though, is do what you're doing, which is to love on them, which is to make sure you're paying attention to their mental and emotional condition. And like Thomas said, this is an exciting thing. Your kids, I've had kids write me, come home to their parents excited to say that I made a commitment to be drug and alcohol abstinent. So be ready for it, parents, and we're going to be, as you said, Thomas, with COVID fading, we're going to be doing some things here in the coming months and this coming year that we wanted to do when we first came here in 19, and that's some special events that can bring our parents and their kids together for something fun. So we're looking forward to doing some new things. We're looking forward again to being a part of your football coverage and your sports coverage, and being able to give some messages to these parent boosters that so much care about athletics here in Dare County. So thank you again for your support of our program and what we do. Please go to soldouttv.com. Please point, and parents ask me all the time, what's the age group? Really 9 to 18. So if your child's 9 to 18, go to soldouttv.com, have them check out those links, because once they do, they're going to be hooked and they're going to enjoy it.
Go to the website, take the pledge, support the Sold Out Youth Foundation, and be sure to tune in Saturday and Sunday, 10 a.m. right here on 98.1 The Score. Roman, thanks for joining us today.